Is this thought mine? Do I want it? If the answers are no, then completely ignore the evil one. And the way to ignore him, the way to fight him and defeat him, is to engage God. Don't engage him in any way. The more these thoughts, these flies try to distract you, the more focused get yourself on God. The more he screams around you, me, 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 it's about me, make this about me, this time make it about me, look at me, focus on me, defeat me. The more he screams me, me, me around you, the more quiet and focused be before God. Remind yourself, as St. John of the Ladder teaches us, remind yourself that you stand before God himself. And then you are not giving any entry to these thoughts. And in time, because you've not received them, and because evil by itself does not have substance, it will just die out. And that entire advice, that entire tradition of the fathers can be reduced to one word: ignore. Do not interact in any way. Do not get yourself involved in any way with the evil one. Even if it feels righteous, even if it feels like, oh, I'm doing battle and I'm winning in this battle. Whenever I note an evil thought or a bad image approaching me in prayer, I've learned to ask myself two questions. One, do I want this? And two, is this mine? Do I want this? Do I want this particular thought? Do I want this particular image? Do I want this memory? Is this my doing, in other words? Do I want this now? And there is a very clear, immediate answer that gets yelled from the depth of your heart, if it is a yes or if it is a no. And one of the clearer signs that this is not something you want is that you feel dirty, you feel like you shudder away from it. You do not allow it to become material by turning it into words or into deeds, by not allowing it to enter your mind, and then you entertain it and you develop it and you get yourself trapped in this circle of thinking. If you do that, if you shudder away with disgust and with horror from the image or the thought that attacks you, and you do not want, there's no desire in you to welcome that thought in you, then that's the end of it. That's the end of any sort of interaction, conversation with that particular thought. And even in this case, I want to stress this, you are not asking the thought, you are not addressing the image, you are asking yourself, do I want this? I am asking myself. I am not in any way engaging with the image or the thought. The second question is this mine? Which is more subtle, but extremely important. It's extremely important because you have to understand that evil in and of itself doesn't have a substance. It does not exist in and of itself. Evil only has being, only comes into existence when a person, a living being, is uniting his or her will with that particular thought. So in other words, as long as I don't accept that evil thought or image in myself, it lacks substance. It does not properly exist. That's why, just a random thought, that's why when we pray the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, we do not say at the very end, and deliver us from evil, but deliver us from the evil one. Because of the same reason, evil in itself has no substance. The evil one the reality of a spiritual being which has welcomed evil and acted out evil, gives evil substance and the reality of existence. Which is why it is so important for us to ask this second question. After, do I want this? Is this mine? And if it is not yours, if the source of it is not in you, then you are not guilty of anything. You are not guilty of absolutely anything, and there is no reason for you to react in any way, to respond in any way. Ultimately, the entire purpose of these attacks, the only thing the evil one wants to do is to distract you from prayer, to distract you from the one thing you are supposed to be doing at that time, which is communion with God. Remember, dear ones, that we are not yet finished. We have not yet reached our full potential. We are in a state of development. We are in a state of, like a fetus in a womb. We grow, we evolve, we develop. And we shall develop into the image which we reflect. In prayer, we face God. We are facing Him face to face, person to person. As long as we are looking at God, we are slowly being shaped into the image which is naturally ours, the image of God into which we have been created. Which is why the devil is absolutely desperate to turn our focus away from that action of facing God. And he will use anything to get that done. The devil is an amazing actor, an absolutely brilliant actor. And he also has the horrible advantage that he has very closely watched us since we were created in the wombs of our mothers, and then as we grew into the adults we are today. He knows our weaknesses, he knows our past, he knows to what we respond, and he will use anything to distract us from facing God in prayer. And you will notice that because very frequently he's going to use good things. He's going to use valid worries about your job or about your family. He's going to use even prayer itself. When the devil attacks you, you must respond by refocusing your attention on God. The way to fight these attacks is to remind yourself that you are standing before God. Completely ignore those attacks and just refocus yourself, remind yourself that you are facing God Himself in prayer. The simple reality is that as long as we are going to walk towards God, we are going to be fought. So we should actually take comfort from the reality of these attacks. Because as long as we are attacked, that means that we are walking in the right direction. That means that by the grace of God and under the protection of the Mother of God and with their prayer, we shall also, by the grace of God, find salvation and be with them in the kingdom.
God is the Lord and has appeared unto us. Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. All the nations compass me round about, and by the name of the Lord I warded them off. God is the Lord and has appeared unto us.